So you talked about previously being a solopreneur
Yes.
before Underminer, before ModTech, and you kind of had to do a lot of soul searching to get to this point. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and, how did you know that you needed to change, that you needed to level up?
Operating as a solopreneur is very different than operating in a team. Whether you're leading the team or you're just a part of a team, it's very different. And for me, a lot of my early career, I've had some like retail positions. Again, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were teamwork per se, but they were not as collaborative as working in a tech company and trying to execute on a singular vision of a product, of a market, of a deliverable, et cetera. And so with all of the work that I did all of my own sourcing, all of my own contracting, all of my own marketing, and all the sort of like smaller piecemeal activities that you'd have to do for really what was a small business, right? Very small business. And then I had to switch my thinking to think at scale, right? It's not just about me and what I want and how I want to operate. It's about what works for the masses, if you will. Bringing on team members, working with Tim. He has a very different way of thinking about how he wants to execute because he's been on that technical side for his career. And so having to sort of wrap my mind around those things. And then also switching from service to product, right? Which is what we did massively. We did the services sort of at scale with Underminer, as big as scale could go. With that model. And then really moving toward this venture-backed, ultra scalable, high-tech application. They're all so very different. They're the way that you think about fundraising, the way that you think about budgeting, the way that you think about all the pieces and parts, building your team, et cetera. It's a huge shift. And so I did a lot of education, honestly. I did the venture deals course 3 times, I think, the live version. And it was different times in the company, each section that I did it, because I think they run the course twice a year or something. And ultimately, every time I was like, oh, mind blown. I have a whole different perspective on this now because we're here instead of there. And so there are so many resources out there that help sort of propel you forward. And once you understand the different sort of functions in the business world of where a venture business sits versus a service business versus a solopreneur business, then you have a lot more sort of opportunity to expand on that.